welcome to a panel discussion with these seasoned professionals from the audio industry. First up, we have Kelvin Ashby-King, who's the principal consultant of Clarity Consulting. We have Amit Jain, who's the president and CEO of Prysm Systems. And then we have Jayantha Prabhu, who is the head business, India, SARC and MEA Black Box Limited. Welcome all of you, and thank you so much for giving us the time to speak to you and learn about your wonderful industry. So the first question that I have, maybe we could start with Kelvin, is based on your experience in the enterprise segment, what do you think are the current trends in the large format display space?
The large enterprise space, we're moving to much larger display types. So I think one of the things that's happened during the pandemic, we jumped ahead 5 years in terms of how things were being done and happening. So the use of products like Zoom or Microsoft Office or various other products that got so heavily used pushed the cycle of development forward. So now there's an expectation that that same person-to-person experience can happen in a meeting or conference room. And for that, we need much larger integrated and software-driven displays, interactive displays.
What would you like to say, Amit? What do you think are the trends? We just had a conversation about it.
Yeah, I think Kelvin hit it right. The trend is also about bringing a total solution in a box to the customers, and instead of piecemealing things. And for example, a large format display is a very expensive investment, and it's not cheap. So you really need to forward think of future-proofing the product. And future-proofing the product really means is not what customer wants to use it now for unified communication, for example, but what they could use it for going forward in future. And so what we do is we have a large format display with interactive and with the software that allows customer to develop their own use cases as they realize the power of the complete system. So future-proofing is becoming more important, and what Kelvin said, the speed of changes are happening much more rapidly now than ever before, and so I'm excited about that.
See, from system integrator perspective, you see that whenever we talk about heavy industry, we buy multiple products from multiple OEMs, and it's like bringing all the instrument together to create a music. And what customers are looking at this moment after COVID, what we see is that they are looking for an integrated solution. And so ultimately they don't want to give 2-3 months for deployment. And so can you bring a out-of-box solution which is totally integrated and deploy, and a large display provide that experience first kind of this one to result to end customer. Means here it is like one display, all the collaboration, all the required features which is available with that, so that they can get that experience whenever they are talking to other party.
So since we're talking about the future, I mean, you guys are responsible for designing, integrating, manufacturing these large format displays, and you were talking about use cases. So what do you think it means for user experience and the spaces that they have?
Maybe I can go on this one. So first, when you talk about user experience, we really believe in a kind of intuitive user experience. Nobody opens a user manual and trying to figure things out. So you have to make things very simplistic in nature. Also, in large corporate environment, there are kind of accepted forms of unified communications, whether it is Teams, Zoom, WebEx, or 5 other different technologies. So you cannot ignore those either, and you want to bring it all together. So at Prysm, what we think about first, we made a large display that can be up close. You can stand 1 feet away, or you can be 20 or 30 feet away, and you have the same visual experience. And that image quality that we offer is by far combines the contrast, the resolution, the fill factor, field of view, all of that into one package. With interactivity and with our software, what it allows is to bring multiple content together. How can you pinch and zoom a display? Everybody has a smartphone. They pinch and zoom all day long, and hence you don't need to be training them. In fact, they can bring lots of content together side by side interact with it, which you cannot do on a phone, you cannot do on a laptop, so many content side by side. So that means those rooms become very important where you can see so many contents at the same time. And one thing very important is don't ignore remote locations. These days, people are at home, other work locations, and the world has changed forever. And so our software, in working with Teams, Zoom, and all that for video and voice, we share content simultaneously at all locations that you can interact with. So very important lesson is as world is evolving, you better evolve with it or you'll be left behind. And we are really focusing on simplicity in a box, and future-proof.
Yeah, like you mentioned, out-of-the-box solutions where people don't really need to wait for a whole lot of products to come together and then they get the experience. Kelvin, would you like to say something about it?
I would have to totally agree with Amit. I think that it is now about experience and functionality. And we're not there. I don't think anybody, all due respect to Amit and his team, but I don't think anybody's really totally there. Have we come a long way? Yes, we have. I think one of the biggest things that we have to deal with is interoperability. I'm on Zoom, they're using their own software, and we have a Microsoft Teams call. Now, that works and it doesn't work. And we've got to get to a standards-based system where we can talk platform to platform. And yes, if you're going from Zoom room to Zoom room, then you're probably going to have more functionality. But if you must have that base functionality and interactive capability between a Zoom room, a Microsoft room, and a Prysm room. And that is something which we've got to sort out as soon as we can. And that will probably hold back the development of this a little bit, like it did with HD video conferencing, when we had different modules and we couldn't cross talk. And I think the other thing is that we're really looking for displays that can be used obviously at the right resolution and sizing for the room, but there still are challenges which Prysm, for instance, are addressing, that when you're close up, is it still the same quality as when you're sitting 5 meters away? So LED technology is running a little bit behind in getting that same resolution at the same price point, other ways of doing it like Prysm or other ways of doing it. So yeah, so we're getting there again, but it's a road and it's always going to be a road to get there. But I think, yes, interactivity is extremely important. We're now dependent on it. And the transfer of the phone skills to the intuitive use of a display, that has to be exactly the same. That language that Apple and various other people developed is now the language that we all talk. We all know how to pinch and zoom. We all know how to select and deselect. Even my mother can do it, yeah.
So I'd like to add a comment, if you don't mind. There's a Prysm software, but recently we have launched something called Launch Plus. And within the Launch Plus, you have Teams, Zoom, WebEx, all built-in application. So in a second, the whole room can be a Teams room, and next moment, it's a Zoom room.
Sure, but that doesn't address the Zoom Microsoft issue.
Yes.
Now, Zoom can talk to Microsoft, but Microsoft doesn't talk to anybody.
That is correct. That is correct.
This is history repeating over and over again. And I think that, that is, for Zoom, you can do annotation, but with Microsoft, you can't.
Uh-huh. And Prysm, you can.
Yeah, I know with Prysm you can. That's where you started. That the first product you had was a game changer.
Yeah.
You had it before everybody else had it.
Yeah, thank you.
But unfortunately, in those days, it was an end-to-end solution. And if you didn't have 2 Prysm rooms, you were stuck. So the whole change of things with Zoom, Microsoft, Google, yourselves, other players, it has really broadened out. So that interconnectivity between systems, that's what really has to happen properly.
If you ask me, I categorize experience in 2 ways. One is that means whenever we are operating any technology, how seamlessly we can it. Means there are multiple challenges. Anyway, Zoom can't talk to Teams can't. Means all those things. It means out of our control. We can't. Means there's a long way to go. Means people are working towards that. Means when we have seen Prysm technology 3-4 years back, We are deployed at multiple places. We found this a game changer technology. It's like a single display. You can collaborate. You can bring all the Teams, Zoom, all the tools together. Then you can do annotation. Remote users, they can join phone and they can collaborate and multiple things. That is the first thing. Second thing is that what kind of training required to operate the technology. That is the second part. Today, if you ask me every day, any senior meeting, without calling a IT guy, meeting can't start. Whatever integration you can do, whatever technology you can put, first thing they will tell it doesn't work. Whenever there is a single integrated technology in a platform, simple training can resolve a lot of things. That's what we have seen at customer places. Looking at all those things, I think Prysm, they are in a right way to reach that experience part. Then also it is a individual what they are expecting.
Right. So you're saying number one, how seamless the experience is in integrating everything, and number two, you're saying training is something that people get tripped up on, and we always need the IT guy to come and set it up for us.
So whatever technology you can deploy, if it is not working at that moment, then technology is not doesn't. It is.
So does it make it more complex to have all these things together, or you feel with just a little training it's okay?
It's in Prysm. What you have seen is a little training. It's enough to people to operate entire thing. Other things anyway I've seen. Whenever you are deploying this kind of technology, you are deploying executive officers and executive conferences. So it should not be. It has to be seamlessly. It has to operate. Right. That is the expectation.
So we've definitely come at a game-changing pace for sure, but then there is a long way to go, and which is
but
my
we're there.
next
We're
question.
getting
So what do
there.
you think is the future?
I think the jump that we've made in the last 3 years has been a huge jump on acceptance of the technology. I feel very strongly that a properly designed system and a properly designed software, it is completely intuitive. We have the basics now. We all know the basics from the phone. The local village boy has got the touchscreen phone, and our parents are using the touchscreen phones. So I think that the whole training requirement has really shrunk down to be very little now. You can walk in, everybody knows how to use a smart TV. Everybody knows how to use a phone. So you can, in a lot of situations with good software, walk in and it is totally intuitive. We're using the same icons or the same style of icon for join and leave in every application. And that language is developing itself. So you do have to learn about the advantages of each product. And I think people like Prysm are doing that through videos that you can look at in the room when you're starting to use it. And I think we've got to get away from this idea that a room has to be a go in and use room. It can't be go in, wait 30 minutes. I mean, there are so many studies that talk about how much time is wasted in getting a meeting started, whether it's a technology failure or people turning up late or whatever. That costs hundreds of thousands of man hours a day. And the cost you pay for that space in terms of your floor footprint, it's now 30% of any office is meeting room space. So you've got to put in the systems that will enable you to regain the cost of what you're spending.
So how do you think LFDs are going to catch up in the future for enhancing their experience and smoothening, the rough edges that we're talking about?
Well, I don't think it's so much the technology. The various technologies are going to give you that higher resolution which the LPD does. But I think for me, it's not so much the display. Yes, that's got to change. It's got to be suitable for the use. But I think more often that the display is not seen by the user. It's how they interact and they work with it and how the software drives it.
Any comments on what the future looks like?
Yeah, so what I really see is there are different types of rooms in a corporate environment, from huddle room to mid-size to large-size conference room to boardroom, customer experience centers, NOC, and there is a different set of experiences in different rooms that you enter. So our vision at Prysm is, can I have a experience, a large format display experience that can work from huddle room to conference room to boardroom, and common experiences. You can be 5 people standing in front of the screen and working on it in that room. Let's not forget that in-room experience is also equally important when people come together. They may not have their private desk anymore, but they come to conference room to do ideation or planning or anything that they're doing. And so that experience today, just like in homes, you can move your Netflix show from one room to another room to another room. Why can't you do that from a huddle room to meeting room to conference room, and you're getting kicked out of one room, you go to another room, you start exactly where you left off, okay? And also equally important is your experiences are standardized and same, including bringing in Teams, Zoom experiences as well if you need to connect across. So our thinking is we want to standardize with our display technology that can work in a smaller room area as well as the larger room areas. Everything is touchscreen, everything has Prysm software as well as third-party software loaded, and whatever you want. And every room is not just a meeting room, it's a corporate communication room. It can run corporate signage information, it can do education and training. So let all the different applications come together to make a very rich and new experiences that they have not thought of yet. Okay, so that is very important. So our goal is to standardize the experience room to room to room and not be only in executive spaces as Jayantha mentioned, right? We are really changing the game to go into every room.
Fantastic. I think the future for LFDs looks really, really bright, and I really look forward to what new exciting things are going to come up. Thank you so much, Kelvin, Amit, and Jayantha, for your time. I think we had a great panel discussion. Thank you so much, and have a great day ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.